Where animals live. Evelyn was sitting cross-legged on her bed, flipping through a nature magazine. Every page showed a completely different world: polar bears padding across white ice, emerald parrots flashing through green jungles, camels plodding over golden sand dunes. "Jason, why do polar bears live in the snow and not in the jungle?" she asked. "And why don't parrots live at the North Pole?" Her older brother poked his head up from behind the bed, where he had been hunting for a lost sock. His eyes lit up. "Because every animal on Earth lives exactly where it's supposed to. Scientists call an animal's home its habitat, the place with exactly the right temperature, food, and shelter. Come on, I'll show you." Jason went to the bookshelf and reached up to the highest shelf, the one even he had to stretch for, and pulled down the book. It was large and heavy, bound in deep green leather with gold letters that spelled the living world. Neither of them could quite remember where it had come from, but they both knew what it could do. Jason opened the brass clasp. The book fell open to a page showing a lush, dripping rainforest. The moment they both leaned in, the ink began to swirl and glow with warm golden light. The bedroom walls dissolved, and they were standing in air so warm and thick it felt like breathing through a wet towel. The rainforest, a tower of life. They were in the Amazon rainforest in South America, surrounded by trees so tall their tops disappeared into mist. The air hummed with the sounds of insects, birds, and howler monkeys calling from somewhere far above. Rain dripped steadily from enormous leaves, and the light that filtered down was dim and green, like standing at the bottom of a living ocean. "This is the largest tropical rainforest on Earth," Jason said, spinning in a slow circle with his arms out. "It covers 2.1 million square miles, nearly as big as the entire United States, and makes about 20% of the world's oxygen." "It's like being underwater," Evelyn said, watching light filter through the canopy above. "Green everywhere. Of each other, like floors of an apartment building. Different animals live on each floor." The forest floor was dim and damp, carpeted with decomposing leaves. A jaguar crouched in the shadows, its golden coat dappled with black rosettes, watching something through the undergrowth with bright, patient eyes. Nearby, a column of leafcutter ants marched in a long line, each one carrying a piece of bright green leaf overhead like a tiny umbrella. "Are they eating those leaves?" Evelyn asked. "Nope, farming them," Jason said. "They carry the leaves underground, chew them into a paste, and grow a special fungus on the paste. Then they eat the fungus. They've been farming for 50 million years, way longer than people." A few feet up was the understory, a tangle of young trees, bushes, and ferns where the light was dim and the air was steamy. Perched on a broad leaf was a strawberry poison dart frog, no bigger than a thumbnail, blazing red with blue legs. "It's so pretty," Evelyn whispered, reaching toward it. "Don't touch." Jason caught her hand gently. "Those bright colors are a warning, they tell predators, I'm poisonous, don't eat me." Indigenous peoples have used the toxin from these frogs on blowgun darts for centuries. That's how they got their name. The canopy, about 100 feet up, was where the real party was. Toucans with beaks nearly as long as their bodies hopped from branch to branch. Those oversized beaks looked heavy but were actually hollow and lightweight, letting the birds reach fruit on thin branches that couldn't hold their weight. Howler monkeys swung overhead, their call so loud they could be heard 3 miles away, the loudest of any land animal. And there, hanging upside down from a mossy branch with the sleepiest expression Evelyn had ever seen, was a three-toed sloth. It moved so slowly, about 6 feet per minute, that green algae actually grew on its fur, tinting it the same color as the leaves around it. "The algae is camouflage," Jason explained. "Harpy eagles hunt by sight, and the sloth is so slow and so green that it's practically invisible." Evelyn stared at the sloth for a long moment. "I think he's got the right idea," she said. Jason laughed. Rainforests cover only about 6% of Earth's land, but they hold more than half of all plant and animal species on the entire planet. The desert, life in the oven. The book's pages rustled on their own, and the scene shifted. The wet green air vanished, replaced by heat so fierce it felt like opening an oven door. They stood on a sand dune in the Sahara Desert in North Africa, the largest hot desert on Earth, stretching 3.6 million square miles across 11 countries. Golden sand rolled to the horizon in every direction like a frozen ocean. Nothing could live here, Evelyn said, shielding her eyes. That's what it wants you to think, Jason grinned. Watch. As the sun sank and the brutal heat eased, the desert came alive. A fennec fox emerged from its burrow, blinking large dark eyes. It was the size of a kitten, but its ears were enormous, nearly 6 inches tall. Why are its ears so big? Evelyn asked. They're radiators, Jason said. Packed with blood vessels close to the surface. Hot blood flows through the ears, heat escapes into the cooler air, and the blood flows back to the body cooler. Like a car's radiator, except way cuter. A shadow rippled across the sand, a sidewinder rattlesnake, moving in a strange looping motion so that only 2 small sections of its body touched the scorching ground at any time. Even the way it moves is an adaptation, Jason said. A regular slither would mean too much skin on hot sand. In the distance, a caravan of dromedary camels crossed a ridge against the orange sky. Camels might be the most perfectly adapted desert animals on Earth, Jason said. Their humps store up to 80 pounds of fat, not water, like most people think, which their bodies break down for energy when food is scarce. They can drink 30 gallons of water in 13 minutes. They have 3 sets of eyelids and 2 rows of eyelashes to keep out sand. And they can close their nostrils completely during sandstorms. 3 sets of eyelids? Evelyn counted on her fingers, impressed. Desert animals share one big strategy, Jason said. Avoid the heat. Most are nocturnal, sleep through the scorching days in cool underground burrows and come out at night, when temperatures drop by 50 or 60 degrees. The Arctic, frozen but alive. The pages turned again, and a blast of freezing air hit them. They stood on the Arctic tundra, near the North Pole. The temperature was 40 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit, and a fierce wind drove needles of ice across a flat, white landscape that stretched forever. We just went from the hottest place to the coldest. Evelyn gasped, her words turning to clouds of white vapor. A massive shape materialized through the swirling snow, a polar bear, the largest land predator on Earth. Males can weigh over 1,500 pounds and stand 10 feet tall on their hind legs. Its fur looked white, but Jason explained that each hair was actually hollow and transparent. The hollow core trapped warm air against the body like thousands of tiny insulated tubes. Underneath, the bear's skin was jet black, absorbing every scrap of warmth from the weak Arctic sun. A polar bear can smell a seal through 3 feet of solid ice, Jason said. And see its paws? Whiter than a dinner plate. They spread its weight so it doesn't break through thin ice. The bottoms are covered with little bumps that grip the surface like snow boot treads. Nearby, an Arctic fox was curled into a tight ball, its magnificent bushy tail wrapped around its face like a scarf. Its coat was pure white, perfectly invisible against the snow. In summer, when the snow melts, Jason said, this fox's fur turns brown to match the rocks and dirt. A brand new camouflage for each season. A snowy owl swept past on silent wings, its feathers so thick that even its feet were completely covered. Most birds would freeze here, Jason said. But the snowy owl has layers of downy underfeathers that trap warm air against its body, like a down jacket it never takes off. I want a jacket like that, Evelyn said, hugging herself. The Coral Reef, an underwater city. The book plunged them beneath the waves. Suddenly they were floating in crystal-clear water above Australia's Great Barrier Reef, the largest living structure on Earth, stretching over 1,400 miles along the coast. So vast it could be seen from space. Colors exploded in every direction. Fish in electric blue, neon yellow, and vivid orange darted among corals shaped like trees, fans, and brains. The reef itself is alive, Jason said. Built by tiny animals called coral polyps, each smaller than a pencil eraser. Every polyp builds a hard limestone skeleton around itself. When it dies, the skeleton stays, and new polyps build on top. Over thousands of years, billions of skeletons stack up into these enormous structures. Evelyn pointed at a clownfish bright orange with 3 white stripes nestled among the waving tentacles of a sea anemone. Isn't he going to get stung? Anyone else would, Jason said. Those tentacles are loaded with stinging cells that paralyze most fish on contact. But the clownfish has a special mucus coating on its skin that makes it completely immune. In return for the safe shelter, the clownfish chases away fish that would eat the anemone and drop scraps of food for it. They help each other survive. It's called symbiosis, from Greek words meaning living together. A green sea turtle glided gracefully past them, its broad flippers sweeping like underwater wings. Sea turtles can hold their breath for up to 7 hours, Jason said. And here's the wildest part, they can sense Earth's magnetic field. They use it like an invisible map to navigate thousands of miles across the open ocean and find their way back to the exact beach where they were born, decades later, to lay their own eggs. A compass built right into their heads. The savannah, the great stage. The pages turned one last time. They stood on the East African savanna, a vast golden grassland dotted with flat-topped acacia trees under a sky so white it seemed to wrap around the world. This was Tanzania's Serengeti, and it was in motion. As far as they could see, animals were on the march. More than 1.5 million wildebeest, joined by hundreds of thousands of zebras and gazelles, streamed across the plain in one of the greatest spectacles in nature, the Great Migration. Every year, these animals travel over 1,000 miles in an enormous loop, following the rains to find fresh grass. The zebras eat first, Jason said, cropping the tall, tough grass. Then the wildebeest eat the medium layer. Then the gazelles nibble the shortest shoots. They're not competing, they're sharing, each eating a different part of the same grassland. Like when you eat the pizza crust and I eat the middle, Evelyn said. Jason laughed. Exactly like that. A giraffe stretched its impossibly long neck 6 feet from shoulders to skull to browse leaves from the top of an acacia tree that no other animal could reach. A giraffe has exactly the same number of neck bones as you do, Jason said. 7. Each one is just about 10 inches long instead of half an inch. And its tongue is 18 inches long and dark purplish black, the color protects it from sunburn. An African elephant lumbered past, the largest land animal on Earth at nearly 12,000 pounds. Its trunk over 40,000 individual muscles, not a single bone, could pick up a single peanut or push over a tree. Elephants used their trunks to breathe, drink, grab food, spray water, trumpet warnings across the savannah, and gently touch the faces of their babies. Every animal we've seen tonight, Jason said quietly, watching the sun sink behind a line of acacia trees, is a perfect answer to the place where it lives. The sloth is shaped by the rainforest. The fennec fox is shaped by the desert. The polar bear is shaped by the ice. Over millions of years, each one evolved to fit its habitat like a key fits a lock. The book's pages glowed softly, and the golden light folded them home. They were sitting on Evelyn's bed again, the heavy green book resting open between them, its pages blank and still. Evelyn went to the window and looked out into the dark backyard. An owl hooted from the old oak tree. A cottontail rabbit froze in the moonlight, then bolted under the garden shed. A bat swooped through the glow of the porch light, snatching a moth from the air. Even our backyard is a habitat, she said softly. Every place on Earth is someone's home, Jason agreed, closing the brass clasp gently. From the bottom of the ocean to the top of the tallest tree, from the hottest desert to the coldest ice, wherever there's a place, life finds a way. Evelyn climbed under her covers. Good night, polar bears, she whispered. Good night, sloths. Good night, clownfish. Good night, elephants. Jason set the book back on the highest shelf and turned off the lamp. Good night, Evie, he said. In the darkness, the gold letters on the book's spine glimmered faintly, as if dreaming of the next chapter.